is fast. I'm gonna have to make a new video. Just like, you're like, whoa. I'm gonna have to make a video that's just a little longer. It's 30 seconds. Just it's too fast for me.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to bitching about
bitching about the buffer.
Bitching about the buffer. I'm Rick Strohmeyer. Oh no, okay, so all right, so welcome to our live stream. We're gonna start calling the show Your Mileage May Vary, and we are joined with our wonderful guest.
Hi. You can see my little thing up here in the corner. That's where you can find me. I've got literally one video, but a lot of people seem to like it. It's very relaxing. So, but really, you should be, subscribing to the one over here if you could see me pointing in that direction. But yes, so he's the one that wants the all of the traffic for all the good stuff we're saying. And I hope it's good stuff today because we're going to cover a lot of things that are kind of important, at least for my home state of New Mexico. We have had some pretty crazy stuff going on down there. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the news coverage, but I think maybe Rick might have some of the pictures of the damage down there. And what I mean by damage is, if you haven't been paying attention, there's a crazy fire going on down in Ruidoso, New Mexico. And when I say fire, I actually mean 3 fires. One, they're kind of surrounding the town. There has been some rumor about how they got started, but I'm not really in that rumor mill, so that's sort of to be determined why they all happened at once, whether it was lightning strikes or other.
Natural or man-made.
But what we're going to talk about today, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, is touching on also some of the stuff we did in last week's stream, which is emergency preparedness, and some of the things that we personally have, found valuable about, our own different types of emergency preparedness. And if there is anybody watching us and in the comments, feel free to comment a little bit about your own personal bug out bag or your emergency evacuation experience or anything like that, because we basically want to be here to start a conversation, or at least continue the ongoing conversation about how people adapt in situations that can change really fast, which is going to happen a lot more in our future with climate change speeding up the frequency at which we have climate disasters like fires and hurricanes and tornadoes. You can let us know that too.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Well, but just feel free to add anything.
Perfect. Yeah. So originally I wanted to shout fire when we went live, and
that
was 3 days ago.
I was going to say I wouldn't call this a crowded theater, but it might be fun anyway.
Right? No, I'm not going to. But my first thought was to yell fire. Yeah. So New Mexico is being ravaged by fires. So Robin and I used to go to a camping event. And that's all the details we get in Ruidoso and Cloudcroft, New Mexico, which are beautiful mountain towns. Like they were painted by God. They're so picturesque. And Ruidoso has just been wiped off the map in fire right now. And we still have friends in that area, so our hearts go out to them and hope they're safe and well. And we're going to try and bring a little levity in on this in this episode, but we're going to cover a lot of, like Robin said, we're going to cover some information about what's what's going on in New Mexico, where they're evacuating, and some stuff that people may want in a to-go bag when the shit hits the fan. So Thanks everybody who is tuning in now and or from the future. Because the future is great. So we'll go there. So where would you like to? Let's start off on something a little light, and then we'll go into the heaviness of. Or do you want to go the other way around, the heaviness, and then go into?
I think we should make it a sandwich with the light on both sides.
Okay. All right. So a sandwich. Okay. So what we'll do is give an introduction to the lighthearted thing. You can do the first half. We'll talk about what is going on, and then I'll close with what I put in my bag. How's that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So then it is sandwiched. All right. So, once upon a long time ago, I read a book that has influenced a lot of my living methods in this world, and that it would be the Max Brooks, author famous for the movie World War Z, and before he wrote that, he wrote the Zombie Survival Hand Guide, and it was written just like a military field book, along with like the same illustrations and stuff. And I read that when I first graduated college and was living on my own, and I was like, having a to-go bag and an exit strategy might not be a bad idea. And of course, my dad, who was a prepper, I did not let him know about this little influence in my life because I did not want him to try and bog me down with all this other extra stuff, bonus material that he would have ensued upon me. And it turns out after he died, I ended up with some of it anyway. So there you go. So the main thought about this is that if when the shit hits the fan, what would be six things? You're not limited to six, because like when you're evacuating or packing your go bag, you are going to have as much crap as you can put in there, right? So like, but my query
within weight limits.
Within weight limits too. Yeah, sure. Right. And depending on like if you're evacuating a vehicle and your bag is as big as a person.
Well, and I've also got 2 dogs with 2 dog backpacks that I can fill if I have, a short amount of time, basically.
And that's important.
Yeah, they probably carry water and food.
So the big question of the night, which Robin gets to answer first, would be what would be 6 things to have in your evacuation bag. They're not your top 6 because your mileage may vary. And by the end of the night, we may end up finding out that we have some overlap, and we're going to be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm putting that in mind. So, and that's possible. And that's the better outcome, I think, because then, everybody thinks a little differently. So you get different perspectives.
And so, well, and I definitely have like a couple of things that are, in my bug out bag for like, this is what I'm going to need if I'm just getting out and traveling for a little while and finding a place to like, lay my head. And a couple of things that are like, well, I've survived through the initial like few months and I'm not dead yet. So, maybe I might need these things, so.
Okay.
But I do have a bug out bag that I got. Well, let me see if I can back up here a little bit. And it's got like a bunch of different like features and stuff, padding and like, things that go around your waist that also have like little stash spots in them and stuff like that. So my number one thing is a good bag. Like the bag itself is light. It has like tons of little straps that you can strap things on and like little hooks that you can hook things on. And like even the zipper pulls are kind of like they're like they have a little spot on the end of it that you could hold stuff on, or that you could lock them together or something like that. And tons of pockets, which is also like one of my favorite things about bags at all in general. I have there's like what's that?
Because ladies' pants don't have pockets.
Because ladies' pants don't have pockets. Oh, you know what? I heard a thing about that, about like how there was a ladies' pickpocketing gang that was very secretive and also extremely successful in like the first era of like shopping mall. I mean, not malls, but like you know, like the precursors to like Dillard's and Sears and stuff like that, like in Old England and whatnot. And that places stopped making skirts with pockets in them because ladies were going in and filling their pockets like before anybody had cameras or thought that women would be stealing anything. So, thanks ladies for fucking us over. I'm sorry, am I allowed to use curse words on YouTube? I don't even know. I hope you didn't get just totally demonetized by that. But
well, it's going to take a lot of effort to get you have to be monetized before you can be demonetized.
Before you can demonetized, right? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, this is a good one. This is actually a really good one. I'm going to show you this one. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's like I'll show you what it is in a second. And let's see, I'm going to do this one as well, which actually is a whole bunch of things, but I'll show you a little bit about that.
Like wishing for wishes.
Wishing for, I know, seriously. God, how many things do I have in here? Okay, I'll show you this. Let's see here. Oh, I'm going to show you that. And these guys. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm thinking this thing, but I'm trying to decide if I want to do that or, this is actually, can I show you 7 things?
Sure.
Okay, then these things. Okay.
Because I'm not showing anything. I'm just going to be using my words. So by all means.
All right. So
you'll forgive me after.
this thing right here. Okay. There's like 5 or 6, 4 of these. And what they are is they're a little packet of like foil. This is like aluminum foil. And if you can see it, it's got like an X right there on it. So inside this is a cotton ball with, I want to say I put mineral oil in there, but I think you can do it with like Vaseline or whatever. But you cut a little X in the top and you use your fire starter that you have to make a little spark to fall into the little, like you exit open and you open it up like a little, like a little packet. And your spark falls onto that, and it's like a really good fire starter because the little cotton ball burns with the mineral oil or Vaseline in it for like a while you're like trying to get your stuff started. So if you're a beginner fire starter and you're not very good at like getting the spark on your pile of tinder or getting your tinder set up correctly with all of the rest of the stuff, then this is a good thing if you need like something that lasts a little bit longer, like, or if, for instance, everything is wet, which is, and here in the desert, not as difficult because there's always, you dig like an inch down and there's some dry stuff underneath there. But, if you have like wet wood or you have wet, that your only stuff that you have has gotten wet in your backpack or something like that, this is a very good thing to have to start fires when you're having a little bit of difficulty with fire starting. In general. Cool. Yeah, I made those.
That's clever.
I think YouTube showed it to me and I was like, oh, I must have some of those.
Right.
And a pretty obvious one, Life Straws or something of the like. I actually bought the brand Life Straw. I know there's a bunch of knockoffs, but I know these have been tested. I don't know about the knockoffs. So I got a package of 2 of them. They were very inexpensive on Amazon. So just get yourself some Life Straws.
Oh, come on. The generics with lead pellets is just fine.
Right. I know. They, if they let in a little bit of E. coli, it's okay. Just like 1 or 2 little E. coli's. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have fire, that's really important. We have water, also really important. Though if you've got that good fire going and you've got a container to put stuff in, you can also make pretty decent water just by, regular other filtration methods and then boiling at the end. So that's also an option.
Right on.
So shelter, I have this thing that's like an emergency sleeping bag. It's not like a sleeping bag like you would think of. It's more like a tarp that's made into a big person-sized pocket. But
Okay.
inside of it is like reflective material. And I don't know if I take it out, if I can put it back in the bag.
Don't do it.
Right. Yeah, I know. Though, to be fair,
There's the life
bag
raft
itself,
inflating in your room.
no, it's not like it's not like that. It's like literally, it's just like a tarp.
Right.
I think it
Okay.
has a cinch at the top that you can cinch it like around your neck or around your face if you can get your whole head into the thing. And it's supposed to be good for like at least a 6 foot tall person. I'm about 6 foot tall, so it'll probably go up to here on me, and like I cinch it right there. Is it's supposed to keep you warm even in situations where like you are potentially getting wet or you potentially like literally don't have anything else. I would also suggest if you have space in this bag, once you get in this bag,
Uh-huh.
that you like fill it with like the top layer of leaf litter if there's leaf litter around, if you're around a space like that, or like any like insulative material basically that you can put in it, because that's how you make your insulated sleeping bag out of something like this, is that you find stuff that's dry, as bug free as possible. Like you don't want to dig down into the stuff because that's going to be more bugs and more crap that you don't want to have in your bag. But like if you can find like even like pine tree branches, like the ends of them where they're like soft and kind of like fluffy, if you can sleep with that sort of thing in and around you, then that will also work as insulation. So there's that. So we've got fire, we've got water, we've got shelter, and now I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to make a better shelter for tomorrow. I maybe want to like find a better place to be. I might need some tools and stuff, and maybe somebody's looking for me. So I've got a number of these things, which is like plastic neon pink. Like you cannot really see the neon, but this is a neon orange shirt, and this is like neon pink, like flag tape. Basically, it's like the sort of thing that uh, archaeologists use or trail markers use or stuff like that when you're like basically going somewhere. So if someone's looking for me, every here and there, I can put a little flag marker, or I can mark out like where my
Sure.
living space is or whatever. So if someone's looking for me, I have a way to do that. And I have probably 4 or 5 little bundles of flag tape that are probably, I want to say
Neat.
there's probably like 30 feet of flag tape. It's like really super thin plastic, and you just
Yeah.
tear off a little bit and whatever. So I got flagging tape in case anybody's looking for me. I have this. This is, first of all, it's a cool little container. So if you like need to contain an ember for a fire later, and like you ran out of fire making material, but you can get a little ember. This will hold your embers or whatever. But this also has a number of tools in it. Keeping yourself clean is really important, but this also is really good for things like you could probably use them for like lock picking if you needed to pick a lock or whatever. But there are a bunch of different shaped, oops, where is my camera there? There are a bunch of different shaped toothpicks. Like,
Oh.
this one is kind of almost chisel shaped and they're metal, and they have a good grippy bit on this end right here. It's like you can't really see it, but you can see kind of the matte. Yeah, there it is. You can see it a little better.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it has a little, this one has a chisel tip. This one has like a little hook on it. And actually it's not quite all the way down here. That's where
Yeah,
that's where the
the tip is.
the hook
See.
only goes to about right there. Another hook looking one.
Okay.
Oops, where am I? There we are. Another hook looking one. A chisel one, but it has like a curve to it instead
Huh.
of just being straight. And then like just a straight toothpick, just a straight metal toothpick. So, I mean, this is not specific for anything, but it's basically just like a tiny set of tools in case like there's something that you need to do that you need a tiny set of tools for. And, like your own little, your big old monster hands are not as, you know, not as dexterous in some particular situation. And the little metal container, it's all metal. The whole darn thing is like metal except for the little seal around the edge. And it's got a little thing that I could just hang it off of one of those loops on my pack.
Yeah. I bet you have some inside loops too that you could keep that.
I do have some inside loops, it's true. And of course I have like a gigantic, well, not gigantic, but like a very thorough first aid kit, which is really important in a situation like this. But I'm not going to show that off because everybody can decide what level of first aid they want to take with them, from a tiny little pack with just some Band-Aids and ointment to, the whole spiel with, like, if you're a medical professional, you might want to do that. A lot of my stuff is tools. So one of the things that I have is this little SOS pack, which I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know.
Keep talking. Keep back.
Okay. But this is actually something I got for free as a donation to the Sierra Club because sometimes they give cool stuff. Most of the time it's just, stuff if you do a donation. But I did like a, $35 or $40 donation. And in addition to my money going to a few good funds, I got this package, and it's a metal container, which again is a really good thing. And it has a whole bunch of stuff in it that's like all super useful. It has like a multi-tool.
All right. Sorry about that.
Tiny multi-tool with a little flashlight on it, which, there's a way to, like, yep, there it is. Little flashlight. Like the flashlight. And it also has like a bunch of other of the standard, like, tools that you would find on a multi-tool. So I got the tiniest multi-tool. I got a whistle that can also be used as like a fire blower to make your fire a little higher, so that it'll do a little bit better that way. I have a fire starter with a flint and a steel that comes with that right there, so that in case I need to start that fire that I was talking about at the very beginning, I actually have a thing to do it with. I have a compass, and let's see, I want to say this compass also has, it has a little like strappy thing on it, so you can actually like strap it on your backpack, so you can have it just right there if you want it. I have one of those saws that you can use to cut wood.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, don't get it stuck. Like, basically, instead of sawing like back and forth like this, which can actually get it stuck in your wood, what you want to do is you want to find a nice curved piece of wood that you can make a bow saw out of. So you hook the thing on one end of the wood with a little notch that you made with your knife, and hook the thing on the other end of the wood, little notch you made in your knife. Make sure that there's a little tension on it, and you have a bow saw to cut things. And I got one of these things, which it's like supposed to be like a bunch of different tools of different things, like different wrenches and like a saw. This is actually a pretty sharp little saw, a sharp little blade right down here. But I've also got
that as a descaler too.
Right. I've also got the little thing here that says this is all the stuff that's in it. So, like, this is all the little things that's in this thing, and I'm just like, dang. So, this is the sort of thing that I like to bring with me, is like stuff that's super useful for a number of different things. And granted, it is all metal. While it's going to lead to longevity, it's also going to be a little heavy in your pack, which. Right. I'm pretty guilty of. I have a pretty heavy pack already, and I haven't even packed, like a lot of other things that people would ordinarily pack. But something that I got that's actually super light, and it's kind of silly to have, but this is one of those, well, if I survived for, the first few months and I got to worry about like feeding myself or doing stuff like that I cannot, do whenever, I got a bunch of seeds. I got all the most popular veggies, like in little packets.
That's awesome.
And it's sealed at the top, so it's air sealed already in there, and so like they're not gonna, they're not, go wrong or anything like that. But I just bought that on Amazon.
So when you have to
And
create a new civilization, you have the seeds to do so.
right, when I find a little place that has some water here in New Mexico, where I can like start a tiny little farm by a stream bed or something like that, when after everybody is, figured out, who needs to go and
Okay.
who can survive the zombies. That's what we got there. So I know that was 7 things, and at least one of them was like a whole bunch of stuff in it. But there you go. There's
Oh,
my
it's cool.
presentation.
I mean, like,
Um,
if you said a first aid kit, you'd say a first aid kit, and not like Band-Aids and ointment and stuff. So, like, shit like that, it's okay. So yeah, like, you get the most wishes out of your wish. So yeah,
right.
it's cool. All right, so let's see. So amongst a lot of what's going on, thank you. That was awesome. There will be some overlap, which is kind of neat. So let's see. With what's going on, I in the description of this video, there is a lot of information for, let's see, just like where some evacuation sites, places that are providing like some supplies to people who had to evacuate, like blankets, pillows, etc., pet supplies, hygiene products. So like that's like it's in the description. There is no fluff to or self promotion in the description. It's just information that if you don't need, but you know somebody who does, information is power. And the top pinned comment of this stream is, help me out, Robin. What is that?
Oh, did you put the fire information, the
Yes.
nmfire.org, where it had the information for today? That is
Yes.
today's daily New Mexico fire information about the South Fork and Salt Fire. It should update daily, so if the information that we talk about is out of date when you see this broadcast, you can always go to that and find it out. It has a whole lot of stuff, including area closures remaining in effect, the details about the different hazards, what kind of resources are there and what they're doing, what's happening with the fire, with the weather, the smoke. We're going to actually show you a couple of those things here. That is not readable on the screen, dude. You got to make
It's
that a
not.
little bit bigger, or half and
Okay.
half it maybe, like where you can see the top
All
half and
right.
then like you scroll slowly down to the bottom or something. I don't know. But
Okay.
from what I'm seeing, that
What
is
you're
not
seeing
readable.
is it's terrible. Okay, I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
definitely.
All right,
But
let's
I will
see how
talk a
we can
little bit
do
about
this.
what's going on while he is resigning. Um, so what I really want to touch on is the evacuations right now. Right now, mandatory evacuation orders remain in effect for several areas in and near the fire. Evacuation information can be found at www.lincolncountynm.gov and www.ruidoso-nm.gov/south-fork-fire. Contact Lincoln County Emergency Operations at
Oh,
575-258-6900 if you have questions. Road and trail closures are in effect throughout the fire area. Both Highway 48 and Highway 70 at Apache Summit are closed. The open evacuation route is Highway 70 to Roswell. State Highway 48 is closed from Alpine Village/University to State Highway 220. US 70 is closed from MM 249, intersection NM 244, 4 miles east of Mescalero to mile marker 258, 2 miles east of Carrizozo. South Fork fire closure was issued for national forest lands within the Smoky Bear Ranger District. Temporary flight restriction is also in place over the area. There you can go to the FAA for more information. It's pretty easy to locate. So you're seeing right now the current incident management report for all of this stuff that I'm talking about. I read a little bit about the evacuation stuff, which you're going to see right below the section where it says smoke there.
We're gonna have to go to another slide as soon as.
Go
Yeah,
ahead and
okay.
go ahead and go to your other slide.
My next.
So we're gonna go over that, and then after that, we're gonna take a look at where the fires are today and the smoke outlook just a little bit, just so you guys can take a look at that.
Whoa, look at that.
But basically at this point, the South Fork has burned about 16,700 acres, and the Salt Fork fire has burned about 7,600 acres.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Again, your public information line is 575-323-8258 or 575-323-8378. If you're the media, your media information line is 575-323-8053. Please go ahead and get in touch with these folks if you need a little bit more information than what I've already touched on as far as the restrictions, where you can and can't go. The other thing that's actually quite important, I found this out through my job actually, and they did say that it was okay to pass this on. The hospital at the Lincoln County Medical Center is currently open, the emergency department, but primarily for firefighters and first responders. So if you call the ambulance, or you're in a situation where you need to go to the Lincoln County Medical Center, you will be able to do that because your first responder will be able to take you there. But I do not believe it's open to the public until, it sounds like Monday. It sounds like Monday they're going to try to open it to the public. The Lincoln County Medical Center, the emergency hospital, and the lab is going to be open, and possibly radiology, but many of the other like non-emergency departments there are not going to be open right away. So we wish everybody well. I don't know. We do know at least a couple of people in there, and I don't know. Are you up to making a report there about that, Rick, about what you had talked about previously, or? Okay. All right. Fair enough.
All right. You want the map now?
Yeah, please.
Okie doke. Hey, I found out some easier controls. This is awesome.
Okay. Right. So this is the extent of those fires. Let's see here. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information here. So it looks like the top one is the Blue 2 fire, the middle one is the South Fork fire, and the bottom one is the Salt fire, in case it's hard to read. The black areas have been contained. The red areas are where it's still burning.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at. And then it shows like the highways in between there, the big highway, and then the smaller ones kind of head off. But that's where the fire is burning. And if we could go to the smoke outlook slide.
Boom. Let's zoom her in. There we go.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, I try. Okay. Huh. Okay.
As you can see, it's burning a whole lot of Forest Service land and a bunch of tribal land as well. But you can also see the edge of where Ruidoso is, I think, if you kind of move over into the center of the map.
Yeah.
But as you can see, that's today's stuff, so it's up to current.
Okay. And then showers, they're expecting some rain. If you smell smoke, you are breathing smoke. Oh, that's a great line at the bottom.
Oh, I can't see it.
Right here, it says, "If you smell smoke, you are breathing smoke."
Oh, all I'm seeing on the page is the fire map where you zoomed in on it.
Oh no!
I don't think you switched your.
I thought I did. Well, we'll fix that.
All right.
Oh dear! I totally thought I was sharing a new slide. Okay, so here's okay, can you see that?
Okay, yes, and we can see the middle of it.
Oh, no, okay, no wonder. I was looking at one thing, and okay.
Okay.
So yeah, all right, there's
All right, so that looks like the extent of the smoke for today. From the fires, you can see Mescalero, New Mexico, Ruidoso, Capitan, and Carrizozo. Carrizozo is where a couple of pretty major, roadways cross right there. So, there's the one that goes from Carrizozo to Capitan, and there's the one that goes north and south. I cannot remember which highways those are, but as you can see, it's like pretty much all over the area there.
Which road would lead? So they're evacuating to Roswell. Roswell. Which road would they be evacuating out of?
They'd probably be going north, up towards Capitan, because Roswell is like north and a little bit east of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So then at the second half of this slide, it talks about showers and storms, and that bottom line is, if you smell smoke, you're breathing smoke, and that's.
Yeah, I see that.
That's.
There's a reason that they put that in bold there.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So then we this kind of information. Anybody watching this from the future, feel free to pause and look at your own.
Oh, look! They even got a little.
QR.
What do you call it? QR code down there for probably current information. Is
That's,
it possible to zoom in on that QR code a little bit, just in case?
I was already grabbing my big fingers to see how. Oops.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're really.
Take the wheel, Jesus. We need big. All right. Let's see. We're gonna.
Oh, there it is.
There. Now let's see how we scroll sideways. Oh, there we go.
Oh, go sideways. WASD probably for the win, I bet. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's your QR code for current smoke conditions in that area for the South Fork and Salt fires. All right. Totally. So I think that's most of the information that I had gathered to give out. Did you want to put a little bit out there about the links I gave you to the United Way and donating?
Oh my gosh. So where's that link? Or is that the one in the...
That was the one in the initial email that I had sent you.
The initial email. Okay, so let's see. I'm still learning the controls of my Mac. Excuse me.
Mac.
All right. Yeah. Like I've had this Mac, and I'm like, so the United Way. I'm not. I see the Home Life Furniture facility.
They are taking donations, as far as I understand.
Right. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting was that when our buddy was evacuating, she made sure to share a post from the Roswell Refugee Thrift Store. And I'd never heard of something like that, but I imagine like any place that has potential disasters that show up, like Florida and stuff, they would have things like this. But I like never heard of anything like that. And I think, wow, what an amazing facility, potential just for people to get essentials.
Do we have a link to that, or is there like any kind of like where that is, or?
No, it was just on her post, and I'm going to try and find that and share the facilities link. But as of right now, no, I don't have a link for it. Sorry, guys.
I'm trying to look that up right now.
I will get to that as store. All right, so.
Yep, here I got it right here. It's just a Roswell Refuge. Let me see if I can send that to you. Hold on.
What in the hell?
All right, I shared it to your Discord.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, we didn't have that ready for you people, but there it is.
Sorry, guys. It was a little overwhelming talking to people last night. And
oh yeah, well, I know that you have a lot more like, emotional affect in regards to stuff like that than I do. So you can definitely speak to how it feels to know people that are directly involved in a trial like that. I mean, even I think last time we talked about when there was the flooding that year at the campsite, and
Yeah.
how difficult it was to like know people who had lost everything. It's
Right.
what do you do other than say, "Hey, I've got some things. Do you want anything?"
Well,
What can we do?
that's kind of what we did. That's what we did as our circle of friends, and
Yeah.
then the community as a whole started. Were kind of were chipping in, but at the same time, like when we evacuated that, because actually, like we had two events that we evacuated, but the first one was like the first time was the big bad one, right?
Hmm.
The second time we evacuated was like turns out it wasn't that bad, but the flash flooding the time before was like time to
Yeah, we're
go.
like, I'm not
Um,
messing with that anymore. No.
right. So
I was so
when
glad to have gotten out like the night before that happened. Like I was like, wow, this is a lot of rain. This is like a whole lot of rain. I'm not comfortable anymore. This is getting sticky and gooey. I want to go home. And I'm glad that my,
right
and I think you were also saying, you should probably get out. They're,
we
saying there might
we
be
booked
floods,
it.
and there were floods.
Yeah, we booked it, and we didn't find out about the flooding. So we drove from Minnesota to New Mexico for this adventure, and then when we were driving back, we were in Iowa. Fine, when we found out, we were just 4 hours from home when we found out. So like that's about how fast news got to us, and
Yeah.
yeah. So back to the current disaster. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so I mean, like we have friends who are essentially homeless right now. We have friends who have um, lost everything. We have friends who have already lost people in this fire. So it's pretty big now. Um, One of my buddies who just retired from firefighting right there is picked a incredible time to not have to be a first responder. Um, and I'm imagine he is following his scanners like crazy right now,
Yeah.
just to see what the hell's going on.
Well, and
Um,
my guess is there's a number of volunteer firefighters that have been summoned from around the state because, this stuff happens pretty regularly. And, when it does happen and it's too big for the local force to handle, they definitely send out, a request around the state for like all volunteer firefighters who are available to actually come and serve during that time. Which, we have people from like all around the state because there's so much rural area. We have to have a pretty widespread rural firefighting force around here. Um, and it being so dry, we're definitely in the zone for fires this time of year.
oh yeah, I mean, like yeah, summer's the bad time where we always had the threat that a camping event would be canceled because of the fires, or we would just go without fires. And camping event without fires is kind of
Weak,
weak. Yeah, thank you.
weak sauce. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
where do you have? Well, you have got to have the Bardic around something like.
yeah. So yeah. All right. So I have. So we have done a fine job of shooting the shit and spreading good information, and we can we'll get to my other side of the sandwich and what I
Yee.
think. So let's see. I already have my. So this is what I would put. Six things that I would make sure are in my bag. Any meds, because
I forgot about that.
like,
Yeah.
like even if it's just a few days worth, like any meds. Um, some of us take one or twos, others take handfuls. Um, and a copy of your documents, like your birth certificate, your mortgage, any car titles, a list of your meds, like um, anything that would require, like anything that you need to for like the important events in your life, like yeah, needing your birth certificate and your social security card. Copies of that should be like to go. here's where some of our life or our overlap happens, because I also had a life straw. And I also put a first aid kit in there. I think the one I have is going to be a little more. Well, I'm first aid certified, so there's a little bit more in there. Um, and I have a multi tool in mine: a toothbrush and a battery charger. Because we have a solar powered battery charger, so you can set it out in the sun, let it charge, and then you can charge up your phone or whatever device you need. Because I am assuming I'm going to have a phone on me as well, and going to want to be looking up to see if contact is available. So those would be my quick and dirty 6 things to make sure are in my to go bag as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm cheating because in my truck I have my armrest is also kind of like an emergency kit, but it has different things in it. Because I have like the Strike Anywhere mat, a bag of Strike Anywhere matches in there. I have emergency like dental hygiene stuff in there, like floss, toothpaste, and an extra toothbrush that I've never had to use. And I have an entrenching tool in there, and I do believe I have some type of. I used to have a flare. I used to have a flare gun in there, not anymore. But yeah, so shit. Oh, and 2 shock blankets, which, yeah, and then in the back seat, because the seats fold up, there's just a variety of tools that may be needed, like there's stuff that I had left over from when I was working at the school system, because every once in a while you're like, anybody got a wrench or this, and you're actually not allowed to have that kind of shit unless you're a custodian. So it's always like, yeah, it's in my truck, and you get to spend a few minutes to go walk to your truck to go get a screwdriver or something, and
and then you're the hero of the day, so it's fine.
And I got so those would be my things, but like, yeah, making sure, like I because of Max Brooks's zombie survival guide, it very much made me consider, like, yeah, even when living in El Paso, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have this thing that I could just flop into the truck that's already in the garage and just throw the dog in the truck and we're gone. It's just like, if we ever have to just bug out, there we are. We're good to go. And I'm a little less prepared nowadays, but at the same time, I feel like I have more stuff to be prepared with. Like, it's not all assembled. But the time when we had to take shelter in the basement because of the tornado warnings, it was all in there, and we were all able to be like, all right, well, let's go find it, and let's just put it all together so it's in one place, so that if the shit really hits the fan right now, we're prepared and we know where it all is. So
on that note about having things assembled, keep in mind that many of the people who evacuated from Ruidoso here were basically told through like a police announcement system that went through neighborhoods saying, get out now, and all I heard was like, it was I think the fire got pretty bad, if I remember correctly, in the middle of the night on one of the previous nights. And it was like right in the morning when everybody was just told to get out. And of course, because everybody was told to get out around the same time, there were these big traffic jams, and a bunch of people were in danger because of that. And so it probably didn't work too well. But when you got to get out like that fast, you definitely want a good portion of your stuff assembled. Like, I'm looking at my bug out bag and saying, well, I have all of these like little things and stuff for specific situations. And, I've got a survival guide. It's probably too heavy. Like I need to actually go through there and be like, okay, well, how do I grab my documents and stuff them in there, and grab my phone and my all these other things? Like, how would I go through and grab the things that I actually need to get out of here, and how long would that take me to do? Should I have more stuff together? Should I have certain things like set aside where I can just go and grab them, like, a spare set of clothes or two that I just never wear because that's my bug out clothes, because I'm just
Right.
like, I want to grab
That's
the little sack and stick it in my bug out bag, or already have it in there and just go, versus grab this from over here and grab this from over there and grab this from over here. I mean, meds is something that you actually have to get the current set of stuff that you're having. But like a
right.
lot of things, you can definitely just sock away and put them away and just not worry about them until then.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, that if you think that you're in an area in any way where you might have to hear that announcement, get out now, and you literally, have to look around your house and say, this might be burning down in like 5 minutes, so I got to get out of here, then
Right.
you want to have your stuff together. So,
Absolutely. This is where the preparedness comes into play, and where, like, yeah, that's why it's to go bag for your answer of documents. I don't know. I would assume, like, excuse me, you could have a copy of it, or like you're going to have it like on the way out, be like,
right, like, I
and
think it would probably be a good idea to have like an actual, like a folder, maybe with like a little handle or something on it that zips up, that
yeah,
has all of those things that you would just go yoink, and that's what you want to
yeah,
take. Like, I mean, I think I have 7 years of like literally every document in my life, that goes back just in case I get audited or something like that. But
right,
I don't really need any of those. I mean, all I would need is like one folder, one set of files or something that's in a good grabbing thing, so I could grab it and get,
right,
put it in my backpack and go.
yeah. And that's where I
So,
put my list of meds too, because you're right. You would have like just throw it in a bag, or if you pack like the weekly, like the little capsule cases with the week's worth of supply of drugs on it. That's like way easier to grab than your 7 bottles.
right.
Uh, so, but like,
Well, it takes up less space. So, you only have
also,
7 days worth of meds
yeah,
versus, you might have
yeah,
the whole month if you
right,
grabbed all your bottles. So, I don't know. It's one of those things that's like, how much can you carry? Are you going on foot? Are you going in your car? Are you, like what's
right,
going on? Like, what are you being evacuated by the military or the police, and they just, plop you into, the back of some personnel thing with just what you can carry on your shoulders? I
right.
mean, crazy stuff is happening in this world today. And even though that you and I both live in cities,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, who knows what can happen? I think we're probably a little less likely to deal with things like a big forest fire, but Ruidoso is literally right in the forest. So there are many places that are,
Right.
like this, that you think, oh, I'm pretty safe, but there's definitely something out there. So evaluate and plan and prepare. And if you need help, reach out to all the different communities that are out there that are doing the same thing. And I don't know, everybody, you know, have a good day if you can. I know that
Yeah,
this is some crazy stuff, but
yeah. From what we'll close. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. Yeah, we'll close on that.
yeah. Well,
I'll just
well,
talk to you afterwards about what I was gonna say, and then there's no, like, yeah.
all
So
right. Is there anybody that we want to plug this week, or anything you want to plug as far as like, your work, your art, your anything like that you want to tack on here to the end to
I really didn't
anybody?
want to. Well, like, so I did a stream earlier today and yesterday, and I was like, all right. So my Instagram got a lot of likes and views on that, and I was like, I'm gonna be doing it tomorrow too. I'm gonna do basically a stay up late Saturday, where I'm not doing like 24 hours worth of streaming at once, but it's very much like I'm going to be streaming a lot today, and this is part of that marathon of streams, but not like, it's part of the body of work, but it wasn't. It's meant to be its own separate thing.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, like, yes, I'm doing more streams in a little while. I'm going to take like an hour break to go do some some airbrushing and other stuff, and probably eat a snack, and then I'll be doing some more streaming by 6 o'clock at the absolute latest. So, yeah, that's all I'm gonna. No more self promotion on this today. Like, it's like welcome to my mom's Zoom funeral. I need to promote my website for a second.
All
So,
right.
yeah. So,
All right, people. Well, I'll say it because he won't. But if you like the content we're making, like, subscribe, hit the reminder button, all the good things. So
there you go. All
we
right.
will talk to you guys later.
All right. Have a good night, y'all. Bye. All right.